KDFL Dynasty Football Podcast. It's the Dynasty Podcast with the league to follow around with. I'm Brett Steele, and joining me this week, as always, Mr. Matthew, the Zenful Matthew Smith. Matt, how are we doing, brother?
Doing great. Still sweating a little bit from Sunday afternoon, baked in the sun. I got a huge tan line right here.
Look at that. That's a beaut.
But doing great. For beautiful evening.
Beautiful evening. We'll talk about that game as well. But back and better than ever, fully healthy, Mr. Jonathan Detroit Haynes. How are we doing, brother?
Yo. It's good to be back. Even though my Lions lost, I'm not puking my guts out right now. So glad to be back.
Glass half full. Glass half full. All right. Once again, another crazy week in the KDFL and the NFL. As always, we will start it off with the KDFL Week 2 results. Take it away, Matthew.
All right, welcome to Week 2. We start out with the Wampus Cats traveling to the 12th ranked 1-0 Wake Forest Lumberjacks. Justin Herbert leads the way for the Wampus Cats with 24 points, but their lack of starting QBs really shows this week as Tyler Algier scores 5 points in the league's offensive player position. Meanwhile, the Lumberjacks forget Offensive Rookie of the Year. Puka Nacua may be the entire Offensive Player of the Year with another monster performance of his young career, scoring 30 points, along with their fresh new addition from the Evil Empire, Josh Dobbs, scoring 26 points. Lumberjacks continue to shock the KDFL nation, destroying the Wampus Cats 265-212. Lumberjacks now shocking 2-0, and the Wampus Cats now surprising 0-2.
Wampus Cats.
Next, we have the Cross Vegas Gamblers as they head over to my side of the town to take on my Elkview River Rats. Cross Vegas comes in looking to go 2-0 and lead the division, but they get a huge game out of Daniel Jones with 33 points. Unfortunately, he got a whopping 0.2 points out of Dalvin Cook. As for my River Rats, Derek Carr, sorry, Matt, he's not doing anything for me. Big whopping 6 points. Damian Pierce has been disappointing also, only 5 points. But however, I have Jordan Love, the number 2 fantasy quarterback right now with 23 points, and my defense comes up huge, and I go 2-0 and lead the division 230-202.
All right, we head to Nocatee next, where the Zen Masters at 0-1 are hosting the Evil Empire, also surprising 0-1 out of the gate. Lamar Jackson leads the way for Nocatee with 25 points. Saquon Barkley, although injured, had time to put in 27 points for the Evil Empire. George Pickens on Monday Night Football does his best to contribute to the Nocatee cause with 23 of his own, but the quarterback duo of Hurts and Mahomes get back on the right track, combining for 47 points. And although it was closer than we expected after the Monday night comeback attempt from the Zen Masters, the Evil Empire sneak away with the victory, 266-242.
Next up, we go to the Kings, traveling to the Dobermans as the Kings look for their first victory and the Dobermans look to stay undefeated. Kings get strong performances from the three-headed wide receiver group of Chris Olave, CeeDee Lamb, and Jordan Addison, combining to score 56 points. The Dobermans QB duo of Josh Allen and Joe Burrow come back to life and score 45 points. This was the closest matchup of the week, but the Kings squeezed by, beating the Dobermans, winning 231-225 due to the deep defensive line positions that the Kings love to draft. Kings and Dobermans both 1-1 now.
Next, the St. Albans Sinners head south to take on the Melbourne Mega Powers and that awful heat down there this past Sunday. The Mega Powers get huge games out of Devontae Smith and Rashad White with 21 points and 25 respectively. Unfortunately for them, the Sinners had every offensive player going double digits except for one person, and the Sinners take a win 272-238 and go undefeated so far.
All right. In week 2 with our game of the week, it's the Roxelana Renegades hosting the Marmette Midnight Riders. This was a battle of 2 and 3 in the preseason power rankings, and it did not disappoint. Old man Keenan Allen leads the way for the Midnight Riders with 31 points. T. Higgins for the Renegades pours in 29 of his own. DeAndre Swift had his best game as possibly ever, definitely in his top 2 or 3 of games with 27 points as he dominated the Vikings on Thursday night. In that same game, Justin Jefferson put in 25 for the Midnight Riders. At the end, it was a pair of defensive stud performances. One Spillane for the Midnight Riders with 26 points. And then on Monday night, to come through when the Renegades needed the most, Mr. Alex Highsmith, linebacker or defensive end for the Steelers. Absolutely shocking performance of 35 points, and it does the job. The Renegades put away the Midnight Riders, sending them to 2-0 as they lose 273 to 308. And that is it for your KDFL Week 2 results. Now, as far as our predictions went, we all went, or I went, let's see, Detroit went 4-2. Me and Matt went 2-4 in our KDFL picks. Matt hit his upset, but pushed on his Saints pick on Monday night. Detroit missed on Philly minus 6.5 by 0.5 point, but got Baltimore over Cincinnati in his upset. I missed on Kansas City and Jacksonville over 51.5. I think it was one of the only games to go under on the week, so I'll stay in true form. And also, I had my upset of the Arizona Cardinals beating the New York Giants, which looked great until it didn't. But on a brighter note to end this recap, the Stealing Money parlay hit for the first time, so that moves to 1-1. That pretty much wraps everything up, boys, from what we got from the past week as far as performances.
I would like to say something. I owe the
What we're
owner
here
of the
for.
week. I owe the owner, CEO, whatever you want to call him, of the Wake Forest Lumberjacks a huge
man.
apology. I may
man.
have predicted on the prediction show that this might be the worst team in the history of the KDFL, that they might not even win a game. And in true Detroit fashion, what I say, the opposite happens, and he is 2-0. So I apologize.
That's 2 weeks in a row where we've apologized to another team in the KDFL. The Gamblers got their apology last week. Real quick, just to break this down.
I might take that apology back after seeing some
because
of
we
these
got a big
trades
match.
and his projection and what he did last week. Last week he came back down to exactly what I thought he would be. So I have a half apology for him now. So
he took back half of the apology. You still have half of it. As far as how the teams perform versus projections, the KDFL on a whole outscored our total projections by 147, as it was a less sloppy week than that abysmal week 1. The Renegades blew their projections out of the water the most by 65 points with their week high 307 or 308. The Kings came the closest to the projections. They were only missed by 5.5. And then the Wampus Cats fell the most short of what they were expecting, as they fell short by 33. Wampus Cats. All right. So, fellas, let's get into what was a crazy week. Let's talk about, I like to always start off with the state of our teams first. As we know, Matt and I were in Jacksonville hosting, as the Jaguars hosted the Chiefs. It was 120 degrees on the field, and we weren't that high up. What row is it? I'm sorry, I don't even know. It's like 15?
Row S.
Okay.
So
that's not that bad, right?
16. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. So, and it was one of the hottest games I've ever been to, without a doubt. And it seemed like the Jaguars were feeling it.
So the BO was pretty bad.
I didn't notice it, but it was pure sweat.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Jags didn't. The Jags. I think you sent this to me. That Trevor Lawrence threw 4 touchdown passes. They just all happened to be like an inch.
Yep.
And the receiver's foot was an inch out of bounds on all 4 of those. One of them, Calvin Ridley almost died at the goal. He hit the goalpost, right? Yeah. Out. Yeah. But the other 3 were the toes just didn't hit the ground, so it could have been a dramatic difference. The Chiefs were not good. The Chiefs did not play well. They scored.
No, they did not.
So It was just an ugly that was a week 2 ugly game and super hot. And I think everyone felt it.
Peterson's freaking me out early on. He doesn't seem to just be letting it rip. I mean, maybe as the game goes on, we saw this in week 1 versus the Colts. We'd really like to see him open that offense up quite a bit more. I know the Chiefs' defense is better than what we thought. I think their offense is worse than what we thought. At least so far. I know they've had the early injuries, but yeah, I want to see more out of the Jags. They get a get right game this week with the Texans coming to town. So
I don't love it though.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
What can you love more than the Texans coming? If you had to pick an opponent,
I just don't want it to be overthought easy game because there are no easy games in the NFL unless you played Jimmy G.
That is 100%. That is 100%.
I mean,
true.
every game I feel like this year has been pretty close, and you got to talk about the Raiders. They got their asses kicked, 38-10. You don't normally see that in the NFL. And I think some Raiders fans, some fans of the podcast, are quickly realizing that you don't have to respect the passing game as much, and there's not going to be a best back in the league, Josh Jacobs, when you don't have a guy that can throw the ball. You got to respect the throw. You got to respect the passing game of Derek Carr, Devontae Adams. You don't have to respect it as much. Josh Jacobs, what did he have? -2 yards or something?
Yeah, right.
That's a big difference. Big difference with QBs there. We'll see how Sunday Night Football goes with the Raiders and Steelers, but that was very ugly performance by the Raiders.
Detroit, I know the Lions had a little bit of a tough one, a pretty high scoring game.
The Lions, man, they shot themselves in the foot that game. They had a ton of injuries go down. They already were going without their starting left tackle, so Sewell had to rotate over from right tackle to left. CJ got hurt during the game. There's just tons of you come out with a 7-point lead in the second half and you fumble the ball on the first play. The Seahawks had to go like 18 yards or something. I don't know. The defense scares me. It does. I think our linebackers are awful. We have one quarterback one quarterback sack in the first 2 games. I think Hutchinson still leads the league, though, in pressures, but they're just not getting to the quarterback. So that does worry me. Offense looks fine. Goff looks very good. I don't care what other podcast hosts have to say about him. He looks extremely well. So I'm not worried about them. I just feel like they're going to be, I don't know, 10-7 is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
They're just going to be playing high-scoring games all year. So.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Now, as far as Atlanta, I still don't think we know what the Falcons are. 2-0 is 2-0, but it's also against a very banged up Packers team at home, and then also at home versus what we now see as a very offensively inept Panthers team. They just can't move the ball. So I do like, and we'll talk about it later, I'm sure, multiple times, but I do like that the Lions and we're going to Detroit. That's going to be a good test as far as, where the Falcons rank. But I will say this, and I told you this in the pre-show. This is not a compliment. It's not an insult. Just this Falcons team is going to be unlike any other team you play this year. It's just so different how it's wired, the lack of throwing, the different run schemes. Arthur Smith has lost his mind in a great way to somebody like me that always loves to go for it on 4th down. Going for it at 4th and 1, down 2 on your on your opponent's 30 with 2 minutes left in the game is absolutely wild. You saw the meme of him like this, and he explained that. He explained it was because the ref stopped the offense from snap. They were trying to go fast, and the ref stopped it to let the defense catch up. That's when he does this. So, I mean, we'll see. It's like I said, it's the first true test.
That's you talking about going for it. That reminds me of the Lions game. Campbell's known for going for it all the time. I think there's times you don't have to go for it. There was a point in that game in the second half. I think we were up 4, maybe 7. We were on our own 45, and it was like 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, and he went for it. And obviously we didn't get it. I mean, I guess that's Monday morning
You're
quarterback.
result oriented.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
just sometimes it's okay to punt, But like someone else says, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So
Right. All right. Now let's flip it. Let's rewind back to Thursday, and we'll break down some stuff from a dynasty fantasy perspective. Let me go down. Let's get on that now. This podcast called it shot on last week's episode, talking about the Eagles perhaps being vulnerable over the middle. And what do we see? Jordan Addison hits a long touchdown. They had a couple more opportunities that didn't connect. So it's really going to be interesting when they get Tampa Bay, because you can't run on these Eagles. You can't do it. Like, it's not like I have Rachaad White. He's a mega power. He's not going to be in the starting lineup this week, because the best thing I think you can hope for is a goal line give in. But I don't. You're just not going to be able to run on the Eagles this year. The D line is too powerful. I am curious to see if Godwin and Evans can do this again, because they play. I believe it's the Monday night game, right? The Tampa Bay welcomes Philadelphia, so that seems to be highly exploitable area for the Eagles. They don't look like the same team. Jalen Hurts doesn't look right. There was the reports that he's hurt. He's possibly playing like 60% to 70% healthy.
how about Swift going from 1.3 fantasy points all the way up to like 27 this week, 175 yards, a touchdown.
You can see when I did the recap, I was almost certain that's his best game ever, but I don't know, because it's the Lions. They could have had some weird stuff happen when he was with them.
Yeah.
So I wasn't 100% sure, but it has to be. That was incredible. It was just working all day long.
He looked really good, but you never know with him. He's very injury prone. So I think he obviously is going to be the number one guy now. You would think.
You would think, but these coaches, man.
And we'll also have to touch on
Cam Akers. I know Matt's shaking the head. Cam Akers comes to mind.
Well, no, I was going to talk about KDFL superfan quarterback over there, Kirk Cousins, leading the fantasy league, number one fantasy ranked quarterback at 364 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Is he not? Go ahead, Matt.
They got to stop saying the Vikings are in tank. Like, I've been hearing it all off.
I don't understand that. Yeah,
and they just traded Cam Akers, so clearly, the Vikings are trying to win. It's not like they're getting.
And the divisions,
they almost came back. They can definitely win that division.
Yeah, exactly. The division's not. No one's going to run away with that division.
Yeah, I'm tired of the Vikings hate. Like, they're going to trade Kirk Cousins. It doesn't make sense. Trade Kirk Cousins. What does that tell Justin Jefferson? Why do you do that? Just because you got rid of Dalvin Cook, they're in tank mode. I haven't understood that all off season.
This isn't necessarily the order we're doing things, but I want to hit on this. This whole thing of, well, the Jets could just go get Kirk Cousins. What do you mean? Like, you can't. Well, it's not Madden. Like, it's not that simple. Like, y'all just go get Kirk Cousins and you're good. Like, no. Like, the Vikings are not done like that. Jefferson, you're going to need to placate him. And I know he's had his little flare-ups of wanting different results, but Cousins is by far his best option right now. Obviously, that kind of goes without saying. But yeah, the Vikings 0-2 is nothing.
Yeah, it's not.
It's literally nothing. It used to be more. It used to be a bigger deal when there was only 16 games. That extra game helps alleviate that a little bit. But I think the Vikings, I thought that was so weird. And then all these quarterbacks they name for the Jets, they could just go get Matt Ryan. Yeah, put Matt Ryan behind that O-line that can't protect anybody. At least Zach Wilson can run. Matt Ryan will literally die.
I just looked it up. They're playing the 0-2 Chargers this week.
Yes.
Hey, Vikings.
Yes, that's going to be an incredible game. It's going to be a stat filler. Like, it's going to be so many points in that game. Now, speaking of, Matt hit on it. Right before we went on, the Vikings trade for Cam Akers. I want to know your thoughts on what this means for Alexander Madison, and if we see the shift. Oh yeah, because tonight we have the Niners and Giants. Time machine. I'm so confused. I thought I missed it for a second. Yes, the Vikings trade for Cam Akers. So Matt, as the biggest Cam Akers lover I know this year, Nobody has
I do.
drafted. I haven't seen anybody draft Cam Akers as much as you have. What are your thoughts
I
on this?
think it's a weird situation between Cam Akers and Sean McVay. I don't understand why Sean McVay hates the guy. He said it had nothing to do with attitude, but it was just felt like it was the best thing for the team for him to be inactive this week. What the hell does that mean? And Cam Akers was not bad week 1. I think Alexander Madison looked. I mean, it was the Eagles, like
Right.
you're saying. It's hard to run on them, but Alexander Madison looked awful. And it's not like he's been with the Vikings for how many years now? He's been a
Yeah.
decent option B for the Vikings,
Backup,
but he's
yeah.
never ran away with anything. So I think Cam Akers comes in there, and I selfishly want him to do very well. And I think this is probably the best spot that he could have went to, and besides maybe the Browns, for him to come and
Whoa.
have an immediate impact.
Right.
I'm saying I think this is probably better because
Exactly.
Madison is not that good, but the Browns would have been the other option for him to go to and get some immediate playing time.
If you were drafted Madison, especially or in redraft, it was a volume play. I hope you thought it was a volume play. I hope you didn't, because if he was some elite back, he would have took the job by now. Like he would have had enough time to take the job and what have you.
He was going early in drafts.
Yeah.
If I remember,
Yeah.
Madison was pretty early draft pick. That's makes no sense just because he was there for so many years.
So
I drafted him in no leagues, but I drafted Cam Akers in a lot of leagues. So what the hell is
I
that?
didn't get Madison in anything. Yeah. Detroit, do you think whose backfield is this? Let's say we're in week 7. Who's backfield? Who's the lead back in Minnesota?
I'm gonna go with Akers.
You think he takes it as well?
Yeah. Madison's all right. I just don't.
I think that's
he's just
what he
okay
is.
to me.
That he's your 10-point scorer. There you go.
Yeah.
Hope you know. Okay. All right. That's for Thursday.
I think they
night.
obviously want to switch it up. I was gonna say obviously they want to switch it up. So if Madison was the guy, I don't think they would have made this trade. So
it had not been good. So, and I know it's rough opponents. I don't think the Bucks are a tough team to run on as well. I believe, and that was their week 1. But he has a connection. He has a connection to O'Connell, the head coach of the Vikings. He was at the Rams. He's a McVay disciple.
I got an off-topic question.
Right.
Do you all know who the Jets' backup QB is right now?
Is it? I do know this. Tim Boyle.
Yeah. Why have they not?
That is.
How
they
long
brought
are they
him
gonna
in.
wait? They brought him in.
He was not on the team. He's after the Rodgers injury.
Man,
Tim Boyle.
I guess that.
When in doubt, call
Tim
Boyle.
Was he not on the practice squad?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was their initial knee jerk. That's the backup now.
Well, they had to bring up somebody.
Or they could
but I would think that you can sign somebody. Sign Cam Newton for all I care.
Here we go. Here we are back to this where we just throw Cam Newton.
You can get somebody.
Well, as long as you don't see that other guy.
Oh my goodness.
Or a trade for a backup. Apparently he played at Green Bay for 2 years, then Detroit, then Chicago last year.
Yeah, Tim Boyle, Detroit. I think.
Yeah, he had that huge game against the Lions in the last week of the season when you got him a big contract, I think.
The obvious choice, I know I just harped on how this doesn't happen, but Jameis is
exactly trade for Jameis or something.
Choice.
I mean, we didn't talk about my third team, the Saints.
Sorry, it's only an hour and some minute show.
Taysom Hill looked pretty good out there.
I'm so tired of that guy.
The game. They had him the game.
It's not even Falcons bias. I'm so tired of Taysom Hill. I don't want I thought he'd be in Denver. Or why is he not in Denver?
They probably averaged like 7 yards a play when he was out there on the snap. And I don't know if y'all saw the replay. One of the plays, he could have thrown a touchdown pass to Derek Carr. Carr was wide open, but he got hit right before he was going to do it. Like the defender left Carr was all by himself out there.
They did the thing that they never do anything with. I never understood when they do those positions why the quarterback's even out there because he's just going to stand there. Yep. And Carr actually went for something. That's pretty funny.
Oh yeah, and he was. I mean, they were only the 3-yard line, and But I mean, Carr, like some other podcast people, what is the Saints record?
It's
Can you all
2-0.
remind me? Is it 2-0? But
Yeah.
but Carr is not that guy. He's terrible. He's awful.
I mean,
Okay,
Desmond Ritter's 2-0.
they don't
I'll just
have
go from a
any of their
fantasy
three starting
standpoint.
running backs right now. No three. Yeah, fantasy he was terrible. I did trade him away to the Elk River Rats last year as part of the Lamar Jackson trade. But Carr, the games of the first 2 weeks, terrible first half. Michael Thomas is back though. Michael Thomas is relevant again after
No, he's
5 years away.
He's too busy
And-
running into the locker room away from people, as y'all know.
And Chris Olave is a top 10 receiver right now, and he doesn't even have a touchdown yet. So the Saints will be just fine once they get everybody healthy. That offensive line needs to improve a little bit. That defense is lights out right now.
Yeah, that defense is nice.
If that offense improves a little bit, they're going to be a very scary team. And Brett knows this. He's just he doesn't want
Not
to say
worried about the Saints at all.
we shall see.
I mean,
Both of you
I
guys
mean,
not picked them to make the
from-
playoffs either. So
From
we
the
shall remind the podcast people of this.
nothing has changed from what I said. The Falcons will get in or out on their own merit. It's nothing to do like, oh God, we have to
Okay.
play the Saints. Like,
Let me ask you this: who do you think you're going to get a bigger competition from, the Saints or the Bucks?
the Saints. Yes.
Okay.
I think. I mean, the Bucks have impressed, but I don't. Baker
Okay.
long term, I don't trust it. Once he starts getting
I
hit
don't know.
and stuff like that, I mean,
So
it's
you
been
trust-
impressive so
You
far.
trust Carr over Baker is what you're saying.
I trust that defense more than I trust the Bucks. And
No,
Carr's
that's
fine.
not
He
what
has
I
the
asked you.
weapons.
That's not what I
Carr
asked
has the
you.
weapons. I think Dennis Allen is awful. Like I think he's bottom 5 head coach in the NFL. Yeah. Okay, are we back? Can we go back to the fantasy stuff now?
Sure.
We're gonna get we can't allow Matt to detour us in the car land every show.
Hey,
right.
talk about my teams. You said we got to talk about our
The
teams.
teams, my God. All right. The one looking at the 1 p.m. slot. Like we're not going to break down every game like we done in the past, but the 1 p.m. slot. The main thing I noticed is a lot of this happens every year. A lot of players seem to bounce back, whether it be Josh Allen, Christian Kirk, Geno Smith. All of them had good games after having disappointing games in week 1. So if you overreact, you kind of get what you deserve. I don't know what to make of Josh Allen going forward. Like obviously he's going to be a good fantasy option, but he's as shaky as he's been in a few years, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And he takes way too many unnecessary chances. Like always trying to jump over people and run people over. I know that's who he is, but come on. I mean, you're the franchise. You can't be doing that.
Yeah.
But
Now
I don't know.
I did mention,
He almost looks like his confidence is lost at times. But
I would, yeah. I would agree with that. Now speaking of another issue that we saw in Jacksonville, Kirk comes back. Zay Jones was hurt, so he was in and out of the game. I think this situation with who to start, Zay Jones or Christian Kirk. Obviously, Ridley's going to be have to start every week. At least that's what we think right now. I think you're just going to have to flip a coin most weeks between Zay Jones and Christian Kirk. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
I think you got to start them both. It is tough though. It seems like they're clearly not both going to have a great game though. But I benched Christian Kirk this week, and the guy went 20 points. In week 1, he had 0 points. So Zay Jones was out for a little bit of this game.
Yeah, he was out. Yeah.
So that could be an issue. I mean, week 1 it looked like Zay Jones was clearly the number 2. But that also the team did not score any touchdowns in week 2, so that's a huge impact on every.
Zay was at least 2 of
team.
them. Zay. I'm pretty sure Zay was 2 of the 4 he targeted in the end zone.
Oh,
I think.
I think I know. I remember specifically one of the plays where he didn't get his foot down, but
Yeah,
I
I
can't
think he was
remember the
2
other
of
one.
them. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he was 2 of them. Now, an interesting tidbit. Nico Collins has been a early surprise in
Go blue.
fantasy. Yes. I always feel like I have to do the disclaimer. Like I was telling Matt about this. Like when a stock person comes on CNBC and he owns the stock that he's here to talk about, I have to do a disclaimer to to keep the integrity of the show and let the listeners know that Nico Collins is a mega power, was a surprise 4th round selection of the mega powers. But I'll leave this up to you guys. How much are we trusting this? CJ Stroud looks way better than what a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
How much are we trusting Nico Collins going forward? Let's just say this year.
I think he could be CJ's number 1 target. I could see that. I mean, before, who'd he have throwing him the ball? Davis Mills. Yeah, so I could see it happen. I'm not saying I think right now he's like top 7 as a wide receiver.
I think he is a wide receiver 7.
Okay, yeah. I might have wrote that down on my notes. I was trying to play it off. But anyways, yeah, I could see him being a top 15 wide receiver, though. I could see it being consistent.
I mean, yeah, I can see that with Nico Collins. He's got to have a wide receiver 1, and looking at the rest of the team, I mean, Robert Woods, who knows? But I mean, go back to this. CJ Stroud's looked a lot better. I mean, they were losing 28-10 at halftime.
Okay, I get that.
And then we're going to give them 10 points in the 4th quarter to say that they look so great. How much of how the games are? 28-10, defense lets up.
Yeah,
like how many?
But,
what was his stats in the second half versus the first half? I see the 384 yards, but what was his stats in the first half or second half?
I don't know that, but is it not going to be the Texans all year long? Garbage points count too. Is it not going to be what they do all year?
I wouldn't. Yeah. You can say fantasy points are better than what we were saying, but he looks better than what we were expected. If you're losing 28-10. And then you get a bunch of garbage stats in the second half. Do you look better than what we were expecting? I think it's more of the fantasy points are higher than what we were expecting. But is he better? I don't know yet. Still to be determined.
Well, I will say this. He's looked better than Bryce Young because Bryce Young's in the same situation. He's always going to have to be behind and throwing the ball.
Yeah.
He looks terrible.
CJ's at least getting some points, but you're right. It's mostly garbage time kind of stuff.
Okay.
Bryce looked awful to compare the two.
Yeah, I can't judge it. He has no weapons, none. And Adam Thielen
offensive line is awful.
The legend Mingo.
We'll talk about Mingo. We might hit on Mingo later when we do the KDFL picks, but he is coming around slowly. But he's involved more in week 2 than he was in week 1. But Thielen, Thielen and Halen Hurst are your targets. Miles Sanders doesn't count. Good. Like what's that? Yeah, so I can't.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give some players here. I gotta go way down the list. So tell me whether you'd rather have Nico Collins or this player. Let's see. We will start Garrett Wilson.
This year or in Dynasty?
Yeah, just this year. No, come on, just this year.
Nico. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd still think I'd go Garrett Wilson. I think.
I'll be bold and go Nico because the Jets are going to be a crap show all year. I
mean,
unless they get a new
boys.
QB. I'm going
the
Nico.
Game scripts. All right.
I don't know. I'd still go, but I don't know. Zach Wilson is bad, but that Dallas defense is amazing, or they look amazing. So I don't know. I think I'd still go Wilson. I mean,
all right. We're just going to do 2 more to range it in. Terry McLaurin.
Nico. I'm not a fan of Terry
Nico.
anymore.
Yeah, I'll go Nico.
Right.
How old is Terry? I'm sure he's like 26, and I feel like
he's almost he's older than that. He's older than that. Terry's older than that. Terry, always is one of my favorite stats. Him and Calvin Ridley are older than what you'd think. I did this one time. He's 28.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
let me find one more for us.
Close enough.
All right. Amari Cooper.
No.
Nico?
I have not watched much of the Browns this year, so I love Amari Cooper. He was AC/DC, but Cooper's give me Cooper.
Amari Cooper so far has 6 points and 16 in his 2 games.
Yeah.
All right. That's just fun. I love doing that stuff. I love to range in
Yeah.
To range in our players. Okay. Let's see. The only good things I have from the 4 p.m. games, I don't have a lot. This is something just to watch, just throw on the radar. We all know I'm a fan of this player. Jalen Hyatt finally gets the 2 deep shots. It's going to make him my prediction for Deshaun Jackson. Mr. Matt Smith, are you ready to already after week 2 admit defeat in the Wandale Jalen Hyatt bet?
No, I'm not. Wandale was out again. Like, I mean,
the best ability is
Wandale-
availability.
I'm sure I was one of 10 people watching Wandale Robinson last year before he got injured. But
not
he
even the
looked
Robinsons
good.
watched Rondell.
Yeah, he was a great gadget player, especially if he comes back week 3. Saquon's out for the next few weeks. Expect to see some Wandale, and I will take an apology in the next couple of weeks when Wandale is killing Jalen. So I'm still in on Wandale.
All right, that's fine. And my only other question: Is there a Jets offensive starter that you feel comfortable week in and week out? Do you still feel comfortable Garrett Wilson week in, week out in your starting lineup?
No, but I still put him in there.
I believe in Dalvin and Breece Hall more than I believe in Garrett Wilson for starters on the offense.
I mean, but guys,
right? I mean, for the offense right now. It was the Cowboys. The Cowboys have dominated Detroit.
Yeah, but look at his season last year, and he had Zach Wilson in his quarterback. So,
I mean, if the Jets are going to be dumbasses and rush the ball 8 times with Cook and Breece Hall, just sign up for Caleb and just lose the rest of the season. If that's going to be the game script, it's dumbest stuff in the world. So, but I still think they should be a run first team with Dalvin and Breece. Let that defense melt the clock down. Let the defense do their thing. Although the defense has not been.
You're wanting to win a lot of games, 13-10, stuff like that.
Yeah, until you get somebody better than Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle out there.
The Tim Boyle disrespect.
I just don't get. There are several options out there. Give away a few picks. You can get somebody else.
All right,
if you want to win.
Yeah. Okay. Now, one thing I forgot to do with the 1 o'clock games, I saw this floating around a lot. This is not Falcons bias, but Bijan has looked great. He's been the running back that was promised so far. This is the actual questions that have been circulating in Dynasty now, not just this year, in Dynasty. Would you rather have Bijan Robinson or Jamar Chase?
Oh, Bijan.
That quick?
Absolutely. Yes. A dominant running back over a dominant receiver all day.
You're
talking about double the years, more than likely.
That's what I'm saying. I'd have to see the layout of the league.
KDFL. The Evil Empire reach out to the Lumberjacks right now and say, you get Jamar Chase, give me Bijan.
I think I would have to go Jamar Chase because the receivers last for 5 years longer than running backs. Dominant receivers like Devontae Adams. Who was the running back 1 when Devontae Adams was dominating? I don't know who it was. Arian Foster could have been that low. It had to be somebody from years ago. And Devontae Adams is still dominating the league.
Work done. Who was it?
Us since 7. I mean, he got drafted in 2014, I think. I will look it up as you all talk about
Arian Foster was gone.
I don't know if he was.
He was. It wasn't himself.
Adams was drafted in 2014. Devontae Adams draft. When
did Aaron Jones come in the league?
Yeah. No, that's way after, guys. What are we doing? Where's the math?
I don't know.
2016. Who was the running back 1 in 2016? Adams had 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. Who was the RB1 in 2016?
You really putting the thing. David Johnson, baby. Mega power grade.
Yeah,
David
exactly.
Johnson. Here's the top 5. Here's the top 5 that year. You ready?
Devontae Adams.
David Johnson.
In 2016.
David Johnson, Zeke Elliott, Le'Veon Bell, LaShawn McCoy. This was the Mega Power Championship year, by the way. Look how good it was. LaShawn McCoy and DeMarco Murray.
Exactly. So I mean, just for that alone, I'm taking.
But that's saying,
their
you
young
know,
receiver.
without a doubt that Chase is going to, well, not without a doubt, because there's doubt about Bijan as well. He could have injuries, he could have problems. But you're sure Chase returns to dominance. This little, it's 2 games. It's not, nobody's freaking out yet.
Internet
Long
service. My
Heck,
God.
what?
I'm running on
It's raining. It's
T-Mobile.
pouring right here. Okay, let me start
I
back
heard
up.
it was
Okay.
going to rain pretty bad in Melbourne.
Okay. Okay, I heard you say about 2016. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. So you're saying without a doubt, like you're sure, no doubts in your mind. I know Bijan can still have doubts with injury and stuff like that, but that Jamar Chase is going to stay at this elite level. Like he is without a doubt going to stay there.
He's as long as he's with Burrow. I mean, the first 2 weeks, who gives a crap? The first 2 weeks,
Right.
of the
That's
season.
nothing. Nobody's freaking out about 2 off weeks.
Yeah, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase can be freaking Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning. They really could be.
Yeah, they can. They can.
And
But
no
would you
running
not
back's
want?
going to have a career.
Would
like
you rather
that.
have that? You rather have that than LT?
Screw LT.
Well, okay. I just happened to name a Charger. So forgive me, but
I
I don't know the
Alexander.
answer. I don't know
for
my answer.
fantasy football, LT is one of the all-time greatest
That's
of all
that
time.
could-
Or is that what
But
we're
Marvin
saying?
Harrison, and for fantasy, is chocolate. Marvin Harrison is just another guy. Are you serious?
I
For
mean,
fantasy purposes? I don't
I would
know
still.
my
I think I
answer,
would
by the
lean
way.
Jamar Chase.
My head wants to lean Jamar Chase for the longevity, like obviously what you're saying.
I
But
don't care. Give me the running back.
woo, Bijan. All right. Last things, and we can move on to onto the KDFL. But Jalen, how to have it Jet starters Sunday night? Is Bill O'Brien going to save Mac Jones's job by letting him just air it out so much? He's a reliable. He's a reliably decent fantasy start right now, Mac Jones.
I guess I don't know of any fantasy team that loves their team when they're starting Mac Jones. Though.
He's a QB8 right now, right behind Tua and Jared Goff.
Golf. Gotta love it.
Goff.
Fantasy does make you look at quarterbacks different.
Yeah.
He's throwing to no one.
Which I mean, yeah, I mean, I didn't hate on Mac Jones earlier this year. So I mean, yeah, I don't see Mac Jones. I think the Patriots are going to do as much as they can to not draft another QB next year. So
all I know is Brady never started 0-2. I had to get that in there.
Oh.
They also Mac Jones, I don't think has Spygate or Deflategate or the refs cheering for him after a major national.
We just can't stay on it. We can't stay on the track on this show. We just can't stay on the track. We always have to dive off something. Speaking
the Patriots
of
win in 2001. Okay, go ahead.
Speaking of getting off track with the Saints talk and whatever else, let's wrap up with Monday Night Football. The Saints split game usage of Olave and Thomas. You already hit on that. We need more Olave earlier on. That catch was ridiculous. By the way, the spike was no one talks about the spike. Hardly anybody even. I know you saw it, Matt. But hardly anybody talks about him getting up and spiking the ball for no reason because he made a good catch. If that ball, that's a Tank Bigsby move. If it stays in bounds and somebody just grabs it, the Panthers player ran after it. Like there was a purpose to go get it. Like it wasn't just lost on the players. And then we talked about Mingo's getting more involved. Miles Sanders inefficient. Let's go. Now we'll wrap up with the fantasy discussion with the big story of the week. Nick Chubb, absolutely brutal injury.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, just no. Jerome Ford, again, we're in the disclaimer portion. He is a mega power. He was drafted for this specific reason, Nick Chubb getting older and Kareem Hunt not going to be there this year. But as we learned today, they brought back Kareem Hunt. As we learned yesterday. Sorry, Detroit, gotta get the time machine right. As we learned yesterday, the Browns bring back Kareem Hunt. What do we make of Nick Chubb? Stefanski came out today and said, not Nick Chubb, of Kareem Hunt signing back. what do we make of Jerome Ford? Because Stefanski said that he's going to be the number one guy. What do we think going forward?
I think it'll probably be like 60-40. But I think he's going to use Hunt a lot because they're very familiar with him. I'm sure he's familiar with the game plans and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think Hunt's just going to come in and only get 5 carries a game. They definitely loved using him in the passing game. So third downs, I could see him getting a lot of looks.
He wasn't some elite thing in his last 20 games with the Browns. I think it was like 5 touchdowns and 450 yards.
Well, what
Like,
about receptions, though?
I mean, he had 550 yards. So I don't know how many receptions he had. I mean, a decent amount, I'd say. But
I thought you were talking about running. Sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't some world. But now, if Jerome Ford doesn't look good, he looked good at the Steelers game. But and who knows if that sustains, because it's not like the Steelers were expecting to get a heavy dose of Jerome Ford. But I think if Jerome Ford just is consistent and reliable, he'll be fine. But if he messes up, I could see Hunt. I don't think Hunt's taking this job. I don't, unless it's absolutely abysmal. They could have signed Kareem Hunt all year long if they wanted to.
But you don't. They didn't need him. They didn't need the other running back. I agree with Detroit. I think it'll be closer to because you already got your running backs on the team. Why do you need a third?
That's what I'm saying. You already got Jerome Ford. Why do you need Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, but why wasn't he starting from the very beginning with that logic?
Nick Chubb.
Why do you need Nick Chubb?
By the way,
Nick Chubb's never going to play again. By the way,
that's exactly what I was going to say next. This whole thing here bounce back. No, that's probably it. It may be the last. I mean, we might see some one-off stuff, some committee, some third down, whatever, or like some spot stuff. But Nick Chubb, I mean, that was.
I think Jerome Ford. I do think Jerome Ford will be very good for the rest of the year, especially if Deshaun Watson keeps sucking. I don't see him getting much better. So I think they're going to have to lean on Jerome Ford and Kareem, like Detroit was saying. They love to use him in the passing game. He should know the whole game script and all that. So I think you'll see plenty of both of them.
Okay, percent chance Deshaun Watson gets to within 4/5 of what he was. Hey, Mega Power's in the news, brother. What are you going to say?
I'm saying, why always got to talk about Mega Power players?
Because that's who played on Monday night.
All right,
and
sorry,
it's a big topic.
Cut you off.
No, you're fine. I just want a real quick percent chance Deshaun Watson gets back to even remotely what he was with Houston.
20%.
20%?
No, it's a ridiculous question.
Why is it ridiculous?
How long can you keep giving him it's been a while. He just needs to get back in.
Yeah, right.
He needs to get it's been a while now. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he got paid and he doesn't care as much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? But he has not looked great. And I almost want to ask the question, who's going to have a better remainder career, Watson or Baker?
I know. I saw that making the rounds today.
The Browns are so stupid. That's why the only reason I would like to see the Bucs do all right this year, just to show the Browns how freaking dumb they are. It's just the same situation with Carr. Like, how stupid are you guys to just get rid of your QB? I'm just saying that they're similar stories.
There we go.
Kick these guys away. Kick them away. Get them away from your team when they're not the problem.
Right.
Like Baker was injured and then just that was so dumb. Watson should be on a different team.
It's been stated multiple times. It could quite possibly will go down as the worst contract in the history of sports. And he went to a run like Kirk Cousins, because we got to get our daily Kirk Cousins mention in the KDFL pod, was absolutely brutal when Stefanski was his head coach. He was awful. It's some of Kirk Cousins' worst years. So it's a run first team. I mean, the reason why we're hyped for Jerome Ford is what it is, because that's a great situation for a run game. So I don't know. We'll see going forward. I'm not overly confident that Watson ever gets anywhere near what he was. He doesn't seem to run as much, not accurate at all. So we'll see. But all right, that wraps up. No, it doesn't, because we have one last fun thing to do.
God. We didn't talk about Pacheco or Drake London.
No. We save them for next week. Dawson Knox.
I mean, what other Mega Power do we need to talk about?
All right, no, there's no mega. Well, actually, it is.
Hold on.
This does kind of
Hold on.
start
Are
with a
we
mega power.
talking? Are we going to talk trades from KDFL?
Yeah, we're getting there.
this week?
One more thing, and then we're
All
going
right.
home.
Okay. Just make sure. Go ahead.
This is a stupid one-off thing. People love when we do the stupid
Yeah.
stuff, so we're going to do the stupid stuff. The story came out that after the week 1 game, Trevor Lawrence took Anthony Richardson aside. There's your mega power, Detroit, and had to talk to and gave him encouragement, said he'd help him, be there for him, and all that stuff. My question to you: think about the QBs in each of the divisions as a whole. Is there what you would perceive? We don't know these guys, yada yada yada, just for fun. Is there a nicer division in the NFL than the AFC South? With Tannehill, Lawrence, Anthony Richardson seems like a swell fella. And who am I missing? Trevor Lawrence. Oh, CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is dumb.
What's a nicer division?
I don't
Nice,
know.
nice, swell
I
guys.
don't know these dudes.
Look,
I mean,
I can break it down.
The AFC South wins this in a landslide. I feel like
It does
There's
win in a
just
landslide.
all around. My goal and one of my goals, bucket list is to go to all 32 stadiums. I've been to all 4 of the AFC South stadiums.
Does that
The
have to do with
Jaguars
how
is
nice the
nice.
QBs are?
No, it's the team in general. The Jaguars.
No,
Colts,
it's the
Texans.
QB themselves. How nice
Why
of
is
a
it only the
person?
QB? I'm talking the whole teams.
I refuse
Because
to
it was
partake
2
in this.
QBs
This is
talking to
dumb.
each other.
Yeah, I guess, but I think they are. I mean, I don't know. Ryan Tannehill could be.
Ryan Tannehill's a little iffy. That's the one. We don't know
we
CJ
don't know
Stroud.
what that guy is. CJ Stroud seems young and innocent so far. Anthony Richardson seems like the most mature man in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy stayed late after
Yes.
yes, to clean tables and stuff and do all that. But the only other team I'll go back to it, of course, is the NFC South. I mean, we got a preacher as one of the QBs.
I'll tell you why he's
a
out. I'll
preacher.
tell you why
He's
he's
a
out. I'll tell you why that.
Baker.
That's
Baker
why.
lives at
That's why
stadiums.
they're
What
out.
is Baker.
I apologize,
What is
people.
what has Baker
I
done?
apologize.
But Baker's
What
just the
is
biggest
Baker-
jerk. He grabbed his stuff. He tried to put the
Oh
flag
my
in the
gosh.
field.
But
No,
what did
Baker's
you do
out.
in college? You want to talk about
Baker,
your
we don't
college
want to talk
days?
about that. Baker
All right,
disqualifies the NFC South. What do you think is the meanest division?
Oh my god.
The meanest.
Detroit acts like he doesn't get a rundown of the show. Like this wasn't on the topic, and we haven't talked about it in detail.
Dumb.
Yeah, you have 2 giant giraffes behind you. What do you think this is?
Possible. The meanest. Everyone on the team hates this guy, Russell Wilson, for the
Yeah,
Broncos.
that was my pick for the meanest. AFC West.
Patrick Mahomes, his siblings have major issues, so he's probably similar issues as his sibling. Justin Herbert, I don't know what that guy does. And Jimmy
He's to himself. He's too quiet. Jimmy G looks like a grade A jerk.
He's an absolute jerk, and yeah, he went to Vegas just to do a bunch of sins, and that's all it was.
That's right. That's right. No
AFC
purity
West
in that guy.
by far the worst.
Yes,
By far.
that was my rankings as well. All right, we'll get some
thoughts,
feedback.
Detroit? No thoughts?
No. I'll just bring it back to the mega powers. Deshaun
The
Watson.
nicest way. No, the
the
AFC
AFC
North was not an option.
Yeah, well, it is now because that guy. All right, we won't talk about what he does.
All
All right. Anyways,
now on to some KDFL business. A couple of things, and then we'll get going to the scores and predictions. We did have 2 trades. I want to get y'all's feedback this week. The Renegades, obviously, they lost Nick Chubb. They immediately correct this and go out and get Joe Mixon. They give up Geno Smith to the Wampus Cats. Kind of seemed like a trade that both teams needed because the Wampus Cats, of course, are without Kyler right now. They just have Herbert. So I don't know if there's much to talk about this trade. It seems pretty straightforward. Your thoughts? Is this going to be enough to get the to help shore up the running back spot? Mixon right now seems like a 10 point of game player as well.
yeah, I mean, the Renegades are one of those teams that are going for it this year. So I understand why he did that. Plus, he's got Tua and he's got Goff and he's got Stafford. So he was able to make that deal to get the running back. So I understand it. I like it from his standpoint, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a good trade for both teams. I was looking at both teams earlier. It fits both teams for needs that each of them had. Renegades had too many starting QBs. and Wampus Cats had too many running backs that they could be starting. So it seems to fit both of them.
Yeah, I guess
Yep.
I just don't. From the Wampus Cat standpoint, I just don't know. I mean, basically, he gave up Joe Mixon, who's an older
Yep.
running back. So yeah, I guess that's fine. I don't think Geno Smith's that kind of guy. It's going to be. I mean, he might have another good year, but I don't see it lasting.
And I think it lasts just as long as Joe Mixon lasts.
That's true. That's
So
the more I think
yeah.
about it. Mixon is an old running back.
I think you got 2
yeah, I
years
think it's
out of both of
win-win
them.
for both.
I think you got 2 years
Yeah.
left out of both of them, including this year. So 1 year after this.
I think that's what both of them would want. 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think they expect out more than that for either one of
That's
those
perfect.
guys.
Yeah. Okay. Next trade. This was kind of shocking to get this type of come up off a player that hasn't played yet. The Gamblers get their guy in the draft, Aiden O'Connell, because they weren't satisfied at 7 QBs. They want 8 backup QBs, and they trade away a 2024 second round pick to the Wampus Cats. So there go the Wampus Cats again, acquiring picks. What did you have for us on this, Matt? Because there's one interesting tidbit that I did not know yet.
I don't want to be nice. I don't know that I can though. I mean, Aiden O'Connell has not dressed for either game. He's been the
That's what I
third-string
didn't know.
QB. And honestly, I made this prediction week 1 of this season. The Raiders are trash. They're going to be terrible. Josh McDaniels is going to be out of the league. Hopefully, he'll go back to Big Daddy Bill, and do whatever on that team, be the ball boy or whatever. Rub a lot of yeah. So that's really what I think. I mean, the Raiders got the shocking win week 1 against the Broncos. Barely beating Broncos don't look good either. But Aiden O'Connell, like maybe he plays. Jimmy G goes down later in the year. He plays for a little bit. The Raiders, if this happens, the Raiders are going to be in the running for the top pick in the draft. They're drafting a QB. Aiden's not their guy. So what are we doing here? Well, why are we trading a second round pick for a very unknown person? Don't make me go back on my 10 QB rant that I had earlier. But it seems mind-blowing trade. You're giving the Wampus Cats a second round pick for a guy that is most likely not going to play very much in this league. But,
more than like not nearly. He's not going to have, you would think, nearly the opportunity of whoever you're taking in the top 24 in a KDFL draft.
And most likely a top 13, 14, 15 pick.
Yeah. Because
based on the way we're looking at these teams.
Yeah. I got you.
I mean, I'll probably pick 13. So
all right. Now let's dive in. Let me make sure I have everything. I'm just so happy we got into the division debate. Nicest, meanest QBs in each division. It was very important that we hit on that.
I think we should expand on that a little bit more.
I have to say this.
Detroit, would you like to revisit it?
No, I was going to say
Your
this.
thoughts?
When I looked at the prep and we were talking about the divisions, I thought we were talking about the conversation earlier about changing the division names.
We talked about it in the chat about the nicest because oh my god,
I was really busy at work today. I'm sorry.
Because I did the whole thing about, hey, I want to talk more about the fantasy impact, and then I said, oh, by the way, I also want to do a thing about the nicest and meanest of the QBs in each division.
Sorry.
All right, no, it's all good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's fire it up. The week 3 preview for the KDFL. This is a vital week. A lot of teams that didn't get off to the start they wanted, and that's what's going to lead off this first game. We'll go to Detroit first and then Matt, but first let me announce it. It is my 0-2 Mega Powers heading to Hurricane versus the 0-2 Wampus Cats. The 0-2 is why we're starting with this. This is the KDFL version of the Chargers and the Titans, 2 teams that were supposed to at least have, Chargers and Vikings, my apologies. They're teams that were supposed to at least have 1 win by now, and are setting it 0-2. So Detroit, give us your selection, what you're looking for in this matchup. And if you happen to have some random stat about being 0-2, feel free to drop it on us now.
Yeah, so when you set this out, I started wondering about how many teams have started 0-2 and have made the playoffs. So in the history, I went back, the 11th, this is our 12th year, and 4 of you guys starting 0-2 this season. But in the past 11 seasons, out of 66 times, we've had 35 teams start 0-2, which is more than half. So that's 53% of the time someone's starting 0-2. Only 4 have made the playoffs in that time. Surprisingly, the Kings did it the first 2 years where they start 0-2 and made the playoffs. First year, they went all the way to the championship. Bear, he did it in 2015. He also made it to the finals. Neither one of them won. And then last year, Mike did it. Here's a funny stat. Nick lost his first 7 game ones. He didn't start 0-2. He came back and won every week too.
Really?
So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. So a little odd.
The Gamblers.
I'm sorry, the Gamblers. So the only teams to never start 0-2 are the Gamblers, the Centers, and that stupid evil Empire. So
very nice. Love the stats.
Also, Mike and Tim. Actually, Mike actually leads now.
The Kings and the Midnight Riders.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you're killing me with the names. Doxing everybody.
The Kings and the Midnight Riders both had 6. They've done it 6 times, but technically Mike has done it 7 now.
Midnight Riders.
I'm sorry. Whatever. Who cares?
He's Ron Burgundy to himself because he wrote down the names and not the teams. Exactly.
Mega Powers, you've done it 4 times. The Zen Master's only done it once. Of course, you've been in the league. What is this, 5th or 6th year?
It's the 5th year.
Long 5-6 years. I don't know.
It's 5 years because the year one of the podcast is when they come around.
The Dobermans have done it 4. The Lumberjacks have done it twice. So I just thought those were some interesting stats. Now getting to this game, the Mega Powers and the I can't get you off my screen. Wampus Cats. I think the Wampus Cats are due. I felt this team was going to be a playoff team. I'm interested to see if Matt's favorite quarterback in the AFC West, Justin Herbert, is going to have a big game against the Vikings on the road. So that's kind of the matchup I'm looking at. The Wampus Cats do have quite a few red Qs, but I guess so do you. But projected 9 points, Wampus Cat win. I think they are going to win, so I'm taking them.
Matthew.
Okay, so the Wampus Cats are a strong team, starting 0-2. I don't think a lot of people expected that this year. That did make them go out and trade for Geno Smith, since all their other QBs are not currently playing in the league. I think that is going to be a big difference maker. If he did not start Geno Smith, I think the Mega Powers could have a better chance of winning. Also, Anthony Richardson's questionable. I feel like they're probably going to be cautionary and don't have him play. But these two teams both have 2 of the better wide receiver groups in the league. It's question Drake London. Who knows what he'll keep doing?
Yeah.
But I do lean towards, with the addition of Geno Smith, the Wampus Cats win this.
All right. Now, my main thing I have on this game, I want to see if A.J. Brown can get off the snide. He's currently the wide receiver 47, but Tampa Bay in only 2 games has been 21st against the pass. Usually when these guys pipe up and complain about their usage, they tend to they tend to come off well the next game. We even saw Jalen Hurts try to force A.J. Brown the ball after he was complaining about being up 2 touchdowns. So with that being said, I can't do it. I got to stay true to Melbourne. We have to get in the win column. Give me the Mega Powers. All right. Next, we have 1 of 2. I believe it is 1 of 2. Let me make sure here. No, it's not. We have the 2-0 Renegades traveling to Dogtown to take on the 1-1 Dobermans.
Yes, this matchup, I would guarantee it's got to be the closest projections. It shows the Dobermans by like a 1.3 point favorite. For them is Joe Burrow. Is he going to play?
Yeah.
Even if he is going to play, is he going to be the same that he's been all year? I am a believer in the Renegades with Tua. He's looking really good. As long as he doesn't get hit, get another concussion. But I'm going to go with the Renegades on the road this week. Like I said, I'm a believer. And plus he's got Jared Goff, so
Yeah.
stud,
Right.
stud, Jared.
You've already Detroit just kind of mentioned two of these things, but I don't like the Bengals matchup against the Rams with Burrow's health. For the Renegades, the Renegades are starting Joe Mixon and T. Higgins. Without Joe Burrow, how good is Joe Mixon or T. Higgins going to be this week? I don't know how confident anybody is feeling starting T. Higgins or Jamar Chase if Burrow doesn't play. I know he tweeted some. Maybe he does, but even if he does, Bengals have not looked great, and it's been because of Burrow's health and not getting the training and all that. I also don't love the Dolphins matchup against the Broncos. That the Broncos, dirty. Sean Payton, they might really try to kill Tua this week, and he
Oh
might just
no.
be done for forever. I mean,
Oh
some of
no.
these hits I watched. I mean, the Broncos game first week against the Raiders, major hits.
Simmons.
Broncos this week, yeah. I mean, who knows what they're. I don't know. Almost seems like Bounty Gate all over. But the
People are
Renegades
saying.
say this because the Renegades are starting Tua and Waddle. So Tua, Waddle, Mixon, and T. Higgins are all, and he's got Garrett Wilson. I've just named his whole team, but Garrett Wilson too is a very
There we go,
questionable
Phil.
thing.
Shout out, Captain.
So just with that alone, I think the Dobermans are going to win. The Dobermans are strong. I don't like the
Oh,
matchups for the Renegades this year. I got the Dobermans.
you corsoed me. I already put the logo in.
Nope, Dobermans.
Not so fast, my friend.
I just
All
said I
right.
don't like any of these matchups.
Yeah, but
Why was
you
I
were just
picking
naming
the
them all
Like I said,
up.
Renegades?
Brett.
You
He
were just
doesn't
naming
listen
them
to
all
you.
up, and I was doing the thing where I was getting my
I
mic out of
gave
the whole.
reasons why I was naming them off.
I mean, my God, look, this is very simple. I look at this game. Joe Burrow is not himself. The Dobermans are pretty weak outside of QB. The Renegades are my darling child this year. So only thing I'm watching is Sirianni going to stay with Swift. That's the only thing I care about because these coaches are so weird about running backs. They can see someone dominate and they'll just shift away from Sirianni. Seems like a guy that might do that. So surely we'll keep Swift going. I don't even care what he does stat wise. I just care about the snaps. I want to see the snap percentage.
I got a
You
prediction. I don't think he will. I think these
I'm
Gainwell is going
nervous.
to get a lot more playing time.
Yeah. I am
Because they
nervous
were
about it.
saying Gainwell started week 1. The only reason Swift even got that opportunity was because Gainwell was
Right.
out week 2.
Right.
So
I'm with you. Oh, I'm not confident at all. All right. Next, we go. The Midnight Riders, the other extremely surprising 0-2 team, traveling to Kanawha County to take on the 1-1 Kings. Detroit, take it away.
Yeah, the Midnight Riders 0-2, but yet they are projected the highest this week as a 32-point favorite over the Kings. I do like some of these matchups. His receivers, I just absolutely love. I think the Vikings and Chargers game is going to be a shootout. He's got Keenan Allen and Justin Jefferson. The resurgence of Baker Mayfield. So I really like his team. I don't really like anything on the Kings this week. So I'm sorry, UPS man. I cannot pick you. I am taking the Midnight Riders.
as Detroit mentions, the projections are pretty good. It's 30-point spread. Midnight Riders are projected the most. But I think it'll be closer than what this is showing. I think it really comes down to Justin Fields this week for the Midnight Riders against the Chiefs. If the Bears have any chance at all, Fields is going to have to score a lot of points in this game. But the Kings also have Kenny Pickett going against the struggling Raiders. So I can see both QBs, both of these QBs having solid games this week.
Raiders.
They are 38-10. I mean, you don't see
Struggling
28-point games very often.
I'm with you.
38-10. So I think Fields and Kenny Pickett could both have big games. Who has the biggest game? That's the thing that I'm watching the most for this week. But Midnight Riders, they are very strong. I got to go Midnight Riders, but I'm watching that QB matchup.
You kind of said it when I'm looking at this. I didn't really focus that much on Pickett. I think that's pretty smart to compare the two. My main thing is the OC of Chicago is gone. Field says he's just going to play with his instincts and not try to overthink and not freeze. Some of those replays were as bad as you'll see him having 4 guys wide open and not pulling the trigger. So with the old offensive coordinator gone, and like you said, the game script of the Kansas City and Chicago game, I'm dying to see Fields show me something like he showed me last year. With that all being said, I'm going with the Midnight Riders because it's just too much talent on that squad right now, and they're too hungry to get off the winless streak. Next, we have the 0-2 Zen Masters traveling across Vegas. Has already taken back half an apology. Detroit, take it away. What do you see with this game? The Gamblers and the Midnight or the Zen Masters.
Yeah, this game's actually pretty close projections. I was looking at this earlier, and the Gamblers, I do not like their quarterback matchups. Mac Jones playing against the Jets. That Jets defense is still good. Daniel Jones going against the Niners. I have a feeling that guy's going to be – I think he's going to be looking like Eli Manning on the sideline, just dazed and confused. Matt, this is your week to win, and I think it's going to happen. I really don't like picking when you have a guy named Sky Moore in your lineup, but and I wanted to pick against you because I know Brett won't ever pick against you, so I'm taking the Zen Masters.
Him yet.
Oh well, it feels like you always pick them, but I'm going with the Zen Masters. You're getting your first win of the year.
Okay, so Brett had his fancy little stats earlier: the most points, the closest points to the projection, the most whatever. The most improved team from week 1 to week 2 is the Nocatee Zen Masters. I think it was a 70-point difference, and that is with Breece Hall and Josh Kelly maybe scoring 7 points total. And if either one of those two guys show up, the Evil Empire are 0-2 this week. They are 0-2, but they didn't show up. Whatever, still scored 247 points. So I think all my guys are. I just want a halfway decent performance from all my guys. Sky Moore projected low points. We've talked earlier. Fantasy projections are so stupid. I want to give everybody in general a little advice. Do not just look at the projections. The projections on ESPN this year, I don't know what's going on, but they're all over the place. It's very hard to look at those and determine who you want to start. But anyway, Josh Kelly, Breece Hall step up for the Zen Masters this week. The Gamblers would have a big chance if the leader of their team, the third-string Raiders QB, Aiden O'Connell, was starting. But he is not starting. Zen Masters get their first victory of the year. First and one of very few, maybe, but I will happily take it.
I'm looking at this, and I already hit on with AJ Brown. Breece Hall treats out the 4 football emojis represented. He only got 4 carries. He's pretty pissed off at his usage so far. I believe that he is healthier than what the Jets are treating him like, and what they need Breece Hall to be is just that utility knife, throwing the ball, running the ball. So I'm very interested to see his usage this week. That being said, I agree. I can't believe we're consensusing this, but I have the Zen Masters getting the win and shocking the Gamblers and getting in the win column for the first time. So that means I have, because this is I have all 3 out of 4, which is the most you could have since 2 of them play each other. 0-2 teams getting their first win. All right. I believe that means all of us do. Yes, that's a fact. Okay, now we go with Detroit's River Rats now traveling to that 1-1 Evil Empire. Detroit, take it away.
I think I'm at home, but okay.
I don't know. I don't know if you know where you're at.
The Evil Empire. They look a little bit suspect.
Shout out, you are at home. You are at home.
Okay.
By the way,
looking at this, he has I think 6 or 7 guys with red letters next to him in the lineup. Surprisingly, it's only a 17-point advantage for him. My team. All right, guys, I got to talk about this. All right, my quarterbacks is Jordan Love is number 2, but I mean, is that going to stay? My running back situation, Dameon Pierce has not done anything. The Texans O-line is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a stat for you. I have 1 wide receiver in my lineup that is in the top 89 of fantasy wide receivers. And that is
why am I 0-2?
That is why Mike Williams at 37. I am supposed to get Christian Watson back, so hopefully that helps.
He is practicing now. Yeah.
Yeah. So My defense has done pretty well this year. A couple of linebackers, top 5, top 7, something like that. Surprisingly, I think my team can hang in this game. He doesn't have Saquon Barkley, but I still think they have too much firepower, and I think they're going to get the win. I'm taking the Evil Empire.
Oh, sadness. Matt?
I got to look. South Hill's Evil Empire currently starting Austin Eckler.
Yeah, that's about some of the
depth,
difference.
I mean, the depth.
The depth. Talk about
the
it.
top 12 rankings, the depth, though, man, I really.
Oh, the depth.
I could tell watching your all's episode 1 of the podcast, the nerve that struck with the Evil Empire.
They never saw it coming.
He was, depth, what are you talking about? Looking at this now, I don't think he has anyone to start as his running back. He does have a lot
It's
of
that
injuries
backup running back for Denver is what he was looking at.
Yeah. All right. There's Gary Brightwell for the Giants, who's projected 7.2. So I don't even know who that guy is. Whatever. Sure, maybe I should. But so Brightwell will come in there, and the Evil Empire. I mean, if you're going to beat them, this is the week to beat them, Detroit. But the stupid quarterbacks of Mahomes, and I mean he still has Jamar Chase, Mahomes, Kittle and Jalen Hurts. And then, as you pointed out already, the weaknesses so far for your team, you're going to need a big performance from Green Bay with Christian Watson, Jordan Love, against the Saints defense. So I'm not loving it. I got to go Evil Empire.
Look at this.
The lack of depth.
One last shot.
One last day. I'm looking at this. The only thing I want to see, if Ayuk is as limited as they say, he might not even play. George Kittle, back-to-back. He starts the season off with back-to-back games with only 3 catches. He's going to have the spotlight on him on Thursday night. I'm dying to see, or tonight, of course. I am dying to see George Kittle actually put together a good game. That being said, it's just too much. I guess I need to preface this. It's too much starting firepower for the Evil Empire. So I'm going to take them to improve to 2-1. All right. The game of the week, the city we did not think we would be visiting maybe at all this year, but they have played their way into our hearts, certainly into our minds. It is the Wake Forest Lumberjacks at 2-0, starting or playing against the St. Albans Sinners, also at 2-0. It's our only 2-0 versus 2-0 matchup. Detroit, take it away.
Yeah, this is a 45-point spread.
It's right with the wall pomp. Couldn't even give him any pomp. Couldn't even.
No.
I
already apologized to the hammer.
You two are showing your abilities to apologize so much right now. We take half of one back, and then we bash the guy.
No, I apologize. I'm a man.
About the other one.
I'm not afraid to admit when I was wrong. So, looking at this, I've already talked about the Vikings versus Chargers game. I think that's going to be kind of a shootout. Surprisingly, Russell Wilson is like number 4 in fantasy quarterbacks right now, but I don't like him going at Miami this week. With that said, the Lumberjacks, their run is coming to an end. So I don't see this even being close. I'm taking the Sinners.
Yeah, I think it's funny. The Lumberjacks with their dominant 2-0 start to the season, like they pretty much destroyed the people they were playing. Well, I don't know, they didn't destroy the Mega Powers, but
we haven't even mentioned that. That's a stat correction. Yeah, we haven't even mentioned that.
Yeah, they had 2-0. Yeah. But it's hilarious. They're 2-0, great performances, and they're projected 201 points, which is, I'm pretty sure no one is even close to them. I think I'm projected 223 or something. That might be the second lowest. I think the Lumberjacks going to need B. John, whatever, how you say his name.
There you go.
I can't say it right. Going to have to rush for 200 yards, and Puka Nacua is going to have to catch the ball 50 times to have a chance against the St. Albans Sinners. It's not happening. St. Albans Sinners win this one pretty easily.
Look, I can't disagree with anything you guys have said. There's only one thing I'm watching in this matchup. Do you guys understand the start that TJ Watt has gotten off to in fantasy? This man is averaging 29 points a game over his first 2 games. It's been absolutely ridiculous. So I do think that the Sinners bring the Lumberjacks down to earth.
And he's playing the Raiders this week.
And he's playing the Raiders. Jimmy G
They're
looking
struggling.
like Thanksgiving dinner to TJ Watt right now. The struggling Raiders. Give me the Sinners to get the win. But everyone enjoy your time in Wake Forest. It's a nice place. We didn't expect to be here, so we got to give them their flowers. All right. Now, let's look at the locks of the week. Detroit, I will have you just go through and give me your locks first. Your lock and your upset first.
All right, my lock is I have Miami minus 6.5 this week. And my upset, I have the Commanders. I hate that name, by the way. It's just terrible.
Commanders over
And,
the Bills.
by the way, I also want to add to this. I don't condone gambling. I'm just doing this for fun.
Jesus.
All you
This is
degenerates, don't listen to what we have to say. If you need help, call 1-800-GAMBLING, whatever it is. But anyways, Gambler, whatever. See, I'm not a gambler, so I don't know. I don't know the hotline. But anyway,
It's 7 numbers usually.
Yeah, typically.
So with that said, save your money. And you guys, it's been great. It's always been fun doing the show. And Brett, you suck.
I don't really gamble on sports either. But with that said, spend all your money, have fun. Life's short.
That's right.
Go crazy.
That's
Whatever.
right.
And you should. I'm 3-0, so you'd be a millionaire
There
right
you
now
go.
if you listen to me. So locks of the week: the Rams plus 2.5 against the Bengals. The Rams have not looked bad this year. They're another team that's gotten hating on this offseason along with the Vikings. I don't understand it. The Rams look pretty good. Give me the 2.5 against the Bengals, and they hurt Joe Burrow. Upset of the week. I have to go. It's a very tough week for the upset of the week, but I have to go. It's going to be a fun, crazy team. The Atlanta Falcons beating the Detroit Lions. Jared
I don't
Goff,
like it,
who
but that made
knows,
me laugh.
maybe struggles a little bit, but the Falcons offense comes out, shocks a little bit, and they pull the upset and start the season 3-0.
We still got to figure out something for me, unless we just want to do the fight song again. But we will deliver. I promise you. If the Lions win, I will do something. If the Falcons win, y'all better get ready for either "Welcome to Atlanta" or the Atlanta Falcons fight song from Mr. Jonathan Detroit Haynes. It's going to be a nice callback back to 2020, which was an amazing time. Every time those two teams play, it's ridiculous. Some stupid thing happens. So all I really want is a calm, normal football contest in Detroit right now. All right. So my very much 0-2 locks of the week. Pittsburgh plus 2.5. The struggling Raiders are welcoming the Steelers. The dominant TJ Watt pass rushing against Jimmy G that crumbles under pressure. Give me the Steelers getting the 2.5. And like you alluded to, the upsets are tough. I'm hoping that secondary is as bad as what's been advertised. Give me the Tampa Bay Bucks beating the Eagles. And the Stealing Money parlay hit last week. We're 1-1. So this week, I told you I wouldn't do money lines all year long. So this week we have Cowboys minus 2.5 against the Cardinals. Saints getting 12.5 against the Packers. And the Indianapolis Colts getting 17.5 versus the Ravens. Parlay it up. Minus 130. On these parlays, I won't go outside of that. That was minus 130. That's the case this week. That's it. So, follow us at KDFL Podcast. And there was some Jonathan Detroit for Zenko, Matt Smith. I'm Brett Steele, and we will see you next week right here on the KDFL Dynasty